Well, good evening, everyone, and thanks for showing up on a cold winter evening. At least it is for us up here in northern Idaho. We had quite a bit of snow today. It's getting to be that time of year up here. Uh, Thanks so much for coming for this afternoon, for this evening's uh, professional development seminar from Online Learning Pathways, entitled, as you see behind me here, Enhancing Your Zoom Classes with Zoom Apps. This is kind of a lot of fun, but can be very useful as well. So what the heck are Zoom apps? Well, they're add-ons for Zoom that we now have the capability in our SDCCD Zoom Pro accounts to load into our Zoom accounts. There are apps that we'll see tonight and integrations. The distinction between them is mainly academic. You don't have to worry too much about it. Apps generally are things that run within the Zoom client themselves that don't require accessing another external website to set up and so on, whereas Zoom integrations connect Zoom with external applications or websites like Canvas. We'll talk about the Canvas Zoom app tonight briefly. And some of you may use the quizzing, the student response system, live student response system, Kahoot. We're going to look at that tonight, another free resource, and it can be connected to your Zoom meetings and used efficiently within your Zoom meetings without cost, at least from Zoom. And there are literally hundreds of these things that have been created, and a fair number of them are free, or the resources to which they connect you are free. And we're going to look at a few of those tonight. The question then becomes, how do you get Zoom apps? How do you access them? How do you load them into your account and set them up so you can use them? And that's a pretty simple process. You've probably been staring at the icon in your Zoom menu for some time, maybe wondering what the heck that was. Let me share my Zoom screen with you here. And I'll show you what I mean. Here's my Zoom screen. There it is. And in as the host, this is my host menu here. You'll see that you're seeing that in addition to your own Zoom, your participant Zoom menus. When you are using your own account and hosting your meeting with your students, this is the menu you see. And in that menu is an icon over toward the right-hand side at the bottom, labeled Apps. If you click on that, you'll see a little panel pull in from the right-hand side. And if you have loaded some Zoom apps, you will see them immediately, or see little biscuits identifying them. If you've not yet loaded any Zoom apps, you can, in many cases, load those apps by going to the Discover tab at the top of the Apps panel here. To the right, just click on Discover. And you'll see some that they're advertising. I don't recommend this one, by the way. They were trying to get you to spend money with that one. But here are a few approved apps. As we'll see in a minute, when you find an app and you want to use it, you can't just automatically start using it. The app has to be approved for use at the SDCCD. That is generally not a big deal. There'll be a button where you can ask to have it approved. And since our SDCCD Zoom accounts are now being managed locally, that is by folks in our IT department, you have a pretty good chance of having those requests granted. Indeed, I've never been refused on one. There are generally no dangerous apps or whatever in the Zoom app marketplace, and many of them have educational implications. So, but the approved apps section here will show you all the ones that are currently available to you. So that's a good place to start. These are apps that you can add to your account and use immediately without having to ask. And then there are just all sorts of other categories here. By clicking where it says feature and clicking on the little down caret, you see all of the different sorts of types of Zoom apps that are available. And there are literally hundreds of these things. And you can go and look in any of these categories. And if you find something you like, if it's not already approved, you can just ask for it to be. But curiously enough, not all of the Zoom apps that are available to you can be accessed this way. There's also a website, and you'll see that over here on the left, the Zoom app marketplace. And there's the URL. It's very easy to remember. Jot it down: marketplace.zoom.us. Will get you to the Zoom app marketplace. And this is what that looks like.
David,
Yes, ma'am.
We've got the band with our pictures twice. Once on your share screen, which I moved it over to the left because it kept covering things. And we're also up at the top.
Oh, those little video windows. Yeah, those can get in the way. You can just move them out of the way, or you can push them off to the side so they don't overlay the image. If you look at the top of your Zoom screen right now, while I'm sharing, you'll see probably a green bar that says you're viewing Dave Giberson's screen. But just to the right of that is a little menu button labeled View Options. And if you click on that, you'll see a menu drop down. And at the bottom of that menu is an option to use side-by-side view. This is not something I can do for you. This is something the viewer has control over themselves. But if you select side by side, you'll see those little, you'll see a video window, and in this case, it'll be me, off to the right-hand side, and then you'll see the full shared screen next to it with nothing laying over top of it. And that's how I generally operate. That's keeps those video thumbnail windows out of the way when people are sharing their screens.
I have the green sharing one, and it has 3 buttons. And then next to that, oh, I see it. It comes down. Okay.
View options, yeah. View options.
Okay.
Click on view
The
options
other
and select side by side and try it. See if you like it. All right. So here are this is the same set of Zoom apps, but all of them are here. For some reason, some of them don't show up in the little panel on the right, but all of them can be had here, and there's a search box. So let's see how to add one of these apps. Let's see. Looking for one here. No, I've already got that one. Sorry, talking to myself. If I go to my apps, I can see what I currently have. Yeah, let's go to, sorry about that. Just a sec. Speaker info. Let's try that. There's an app we're going to look at in a moment called Speaker Info that can be quite useful. I'm going to go to the app marketplace. The app marketplace is probably really the best place to do this, as opposed to the little panel on the right in your Zoom meeting. For one thing, you can add apps without actually being in a Zoom meeting. And for another, all of the apps that are available will show up here. Whereas for some reason, not all of them show up in this when you're searching in the Discover tab of the panel that pops up on the right side of your Zoom client screen. So I'm going to look for speaker. Probably helps if I spell it right. Speaker Info. There's an app. I click on that. I do have to sign into my Zoom account if I'm not already signed in. And I'm given the option to visit the site to add. Often enough, you'll just see an add button here, but in this case, apparently I have to go to the site to do it. And it says you're viewing your Zoom app through the browser. Click here to install your app in Zoom. So I do that. And I get a screen that looks like this, and it tells you all about what this app is going to do. You just click here where it says allow this app to use my shared access permissions and click allow. And the app is added to your account. Then you can open up Zoom. And that since I'm already in a meeting, it didn't force me to start the meeting over or dump me into a different meeting. It's safe to do this while you're in a live meeting, thank goodness. Otherwise, it would be very hard to show you this. And speaker info just popped up on the right here. Then we'll take a quick look at this app. It's one of a number of things that can enhance your ability as the host to keep track of what's going on in your meeting. It basically just tells you who has spoken in the meeting, how many times they spoke up, and how long they spoke. And it only adds time or counts off time as the person is speaking. If the person speaks and then goes silent, it stops the timer. And if that person then comes back in later, it will indicate that they've spoken up twice. Somebody else say something. You can see my Zoom screen here, so you can see.
Well, you know, I'm not bashful.
Ah, there she is. See, Carlin spoke up. Doesn't tell me what she said. It just tells me that she spoke up. Somebody else try. Just unmute yourself. You can unmute yourselves if you're muted and speak up. See if it.
Hi, Dave.
I don't know.
I finally made it.
All right, you're here, and
Yeah.
and
Do you have any recommendations? Which apps are for teachers?
well, I'm going to show you some that I've enjoyed tonight.
Okay.
I've tried to pull out just about everything that I thought was both useful and free, and I'll mention a couple of others as we go along.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Right. So whomever, as long as I have this app running, whomever speaks up, I'll get a feel for how the meeting is going and how many people are participating and so on. It's very simple, very cute, and very free. When I'm done with an app, I want to move on to showing another one or using another one. I can always click the little 3-dot menu up here, menu button, just to the right of the name of the app. Well, before I show you that, I can also share the app. I'm already sharing my screen, and you're seeing the app in the little panel there on my screen, so I don't have to do that. But there will be some of these apps where we'll need to share this. I'll need to share the screen with you in order for you to participate with me in something through the app. So that one will be, and there's also an invite button that we'll have to use sometimes to invite people to.
It's a what?
Mhm.
I didn't hear what you said.
In addition to being able to share the app with you, though I'm already doing that, I could use this button right here, but I can also invite people to use the app.
Oh, okay.
That's not really pointful here, because this app is primarily intended for the host to keep track of what's going on in the meeting. And if I want to keep this running and not have it interfere with other apps, I can click this little menu up here and I can pop it out so that it pops out in a separate window.
Oh, okay.
I can minimize that window, or I can pull it off onto another screen and keep it running, and not, I don't think it'll interfere with any of the other apps. We'll find out. And so that's a cute little thing all by itself. And
I like that.
Probably the most complicated one of the ones we're going to look at tonight that there is to add into your account. Most of the others just come up with an add button, and you just click add, and then you have access to the app instantly.
I attend a certain group of meetings where that would be handy to prove to somebody that they are dominating the conversation.
It does show that up pretty quickly. I'm afraid it's gonna what? Well, I don't know. Right now I've got 4 minutes and 37 seconds, and Carl Lynn's got 3 minutes and 19 seconds going. So there we are. It works. It is, and again, it's free. So this is something you can load into your Zoom account almost immediately. You just get that website where you have to click the button to add it to your account. Usually it just goes right ahead and adds. It does ask you, this is what it shows you what this app does, and there's an allow button at the bottom of the screen, as we saw a moment ago. You just click that, and then boom, you've got the app. Then you start figuring out how to use it. And some of them, it takes a little figuring, but everything I've tried so far has worked reasonably well. Okay, so we are. Again, looking for apps, I'd probably go to the website, to the marketplace.zoom.us website, rather than looking in the panel over here, because you're going to miss some if you do that. Took me a while to figure that out. So what are we going to look at tonight? Well, these are some ones that I've picked out to play with. If you see something that you want to try, let me, when we get done with some of these, I'll be happy to tinker with it in real time for you. These are ones I've tried out and I know work, and I think I know how to use them. We'll find out here in a second. This is all pretty new to us. Zoom apps have been around for a while, but we didn't get access to them until sometime after the transition earlier in the year, when our accounts were moved from the management of the CCC Confer at the district to CCC Confer at out of the state chancellor's office to our IT department at the district. And so once that happened, it was possible to make these apps available, and we've been slowly adding to the number of ones that are approved. And local administrators at the district can do that now. And if you ask nicely by just pressing the button that says ask to add, or request to add, I believe it says, and then a little box pops up where you get to state why you want the app. It doesn't have to be any profound reason. And hopefully within a few days, you'll get a message from an administrator, or actually you'll get a message from Zoom that says this app has been added to your Zoom or has been approved for your use. If you have one that you really want to try and you don't get a response in a couple of days, let me know. I don't have administrator access to the Zoom accounts at the district, but I do know someone who does. I can pass it along, and maybe I can get it approved for you. The first one we'll talk about, other than speaker info, is Showmaster. For those of you who were here right at 6 o'clock, you saw Showmaster. It's a video introduction to your Zoom meeting that you can run. We've all seen those entertainment videos and with audio that they play at a conference when they're waiting for the keynote speaker to come out or whatever. They'll have this coming attractions or something video playing up on the big screen in front of the room to keep you entertained until things actually start. Or think of the coming attractions at the movie theater. That's what Showmaster gives you the capability to set up on your own. And let's see how that works. I'll go back to my apps here, and it shows me the ones that I have added, including speaker info. And that wasn't there before. We just added that. Let's go to Showmaster. If I click on that, yep, you're still seeing that. I get this screen. There's no setup involved. You don't have to make an account. You can make an account at showmaster.app and and if you pay them some money, you get a little bit more capability, but I don't think that's probably worth it in most cases. The basic free version of Showmaster seems to work fine for me anyway. And it tells you here, there you got no templates stored. You have to pay them money if you want to store one of these. But press Launch Configurator to get started. And there's the button for that. So we'll go down here and click that. And this is what the setup screen for Showmaster looks like. You've got a general tab, a content tab, a final scenes tab, and a music tab. But you only really have to deal with the general and the content tab if you just want to get something started here. First thing you get to decide is how long you want the, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Dave, can you enlarge it because I can't see anything? Can you make it bigger?
Should have said this before. In the upper right-hand corner of your Zoom screen, you'll see a button labeled View.
View?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
if you click on View, you'll get a menu and select Speaker View.
Okay, speaker view. Side-by-side speaker, yes?
Just Speaker View. Yeah.
It doesn't show just speaker.
I tell you what, let me stop my share for a second. That'll make it easier for you to see. Now, if you look in the very upper right-hand corner of your screen,
Yeah.
there's a view, a little button labeled View. It's right in the absolute top upper right of the Zoom screen. And if you click on that, you'll see options including speaker view, gallery view, and maybe some others, depending on exactly.
Yeah, I found it, yes. I
Okay.
click on
Click
speaker.
speaker,
Speaker,
click
okay.
speaker, and then you should be able to see what I'm showing you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that.
So much. Yeah.
Because I'm not actually sharing, well, I am sharing my Zoom screen right now, or I'm about to, but that will make it easier for you to see what's going on. All right, let me share this again. Okay, share screen. There we go. And that one. All right. Now you should be seeing a white screen. If you if the white portion of the screen is not big enough, you can also mouse over the dividing line between the left and the right and move this back and forth like so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you can do that. Oh, no, you can't do it. Only I can.
I can do it.
Only I can do that, but I've got it. I've got the white portion of the screen maximized right now. So that's the
Oh, okay.
best I can do at this point. So under the general tab, we have first the timeline box here that allows us to decide how long we want this to play. Typically, you'll use this at the beginning of a meeting when the meeting has started, but you're not presenting yet. You can start this and share it so that when people drop into your meeting, they immediately see the Showmaster movie playing. You can play it for a fixed amount of time, which you can control, or you can play it until a specific time, or you can just have it play infinitely and keep playing until you shut it down manually. I'm going to just leave it at the fixed 5 minutes. I can shut that down early if I need to. If you have a fixed time limit set, you can also enable a countdown so that it's counting down. You may have seen this in a Zoom meeting at some point when you were attending something at, say, the state level or something like that, and you were waiting for the presentation to start. You may have seen a countdown timer telling you how much time was left before it started. Well, you can do that too. And you can just say, you can change this text here if you want to, but probably the presentation is about to start in time. It's probably fine. You can also choose from a limited number of animated backgrounds or themes, they call it. The one I've selected is technology. There's also one called stripes, and one called circles, one called 3D city. Well, let's try the 3D city. I haven't tried that one before. There are others that are available only if you pay them money. And you can even create your own custom backgrounds if you pay them a little money. I'm not sure how much this actually costs. I should have checked that out because I didn't think it was probably worth paying, whatever it was. All right, so I'm going to select the 3D city, and you can change the nature of the animations. You'll see what that means in a minute. And you've got some dark and light themes or dark and light modes that you can use. The default is dark. You can play with this to your heart's content. Then you also have some content of your own that you can add. I click the content tab. First, these headlines are messages that are going to appear at various times during the playing of this introductory video. And you can have as many of them as you want, as far as I know, and they can be, a sentence or so in length. You can take out their defaults and put in your own, like online learning pathways, professional development. I can type it right. What do you know? And just okay it once you ascertain that you haven't misspelled anything. This is one of those places where a misspelling really stands out. And how about Zoom apps is our topic tonight. Okay, and I could add more. I'm not quite sure how many I can add. You have about 100 characters available in each one. I can also have a big letter message pop up. The default is welcome. I'm just going to leave it at that. It can be up to 20 characters in length. And you can, if you can get an SVG, a vector graphic logo of your organization, which I managed to cobble together somehow, programs like Adobe Illustrator output vector graphics. Or you can find they do give you some suggestions here on some converters that can convert ordinary JPEG or PNG images to vector graphics that you might be able to use. I managed to get a logo that would work, so I'll select that from my pictures library. I think I called it professional development logo. There it is. That's the one that actually worked. And I'll add that to it. I can also add a final scene. I haven't tried that yet. I'm not even going to fool with it right now. To see what it's going to look like, I can preview it for me. And since I'm sharing my screen, you'll see it too. And I need to make sure I'm sharing sound. Ah, sorry, hit the wrong button. There's my little logo up there. It didn't come out real big. Oh, it's using the logo everywhere. Now it starts counting it down. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. To actually use it and share it by itself with your students or with your attendees, you just click this button here that says share with audience. And the same thing. But now if somebody comes into the meeting and this is running, then they'll have something to watch and they'll know they're in the right place.
It's interesting that it puts the signs on the sides of the buildings.
Yeah, so I just closed the app. So that's something you can set up and use usually at the beginning of the meeting. Or if, let's say you're having in a long Zoom class, you might want a little bit of a break, a bio break in the middle of the class. And you can set this thing to playing and set a time limit, and the students will know when you expect them back and so on. And it'll give the ones who are just sitting there and waiting something to look at, and the graphics are pretty cool. And it's entertaining at the very least. A little bit more entertaining is sitting there and looking at a blank screen or an empty chair or something like that, or a PowerPoint slide with no animations. So kind of enjoy that one. Free. There is a pro version. You saw there were some features that you couldn't use. You can actually get quite a bit more sophisticated with these movies if you like to, or it appears so. I haven't tried that yet. The basic model was good enough for me. I think I'll probably use those from time to time now. Okay, let's go back to the App Store here, or the Apps panel. And if that gets too big, you can click this little, no, I'm not sharing my screen. That's right. One thing that does happen if you use your that Showmaster app, it cancels any other screen shares that you have going. So I have to reshare my screen here for you to see my apps panel again. All right, here we are back to where we were. Another common one, indeed, the first app that a lot of people try out is one named simply Timer. Don't go for something with timer and other stuff after it, because those almost certainly cost money. Timer itself, with an icon that looks like this, it's down here near the bottom, with just a little stopwatch icon, is actually created by Zoom, and it's completely free. To use it, all you do is click on the timer button here, and the timer app pops up in your side panel here. You can set it's a very simple app. It's just a countdown timer, like the one you have on your phone, but you can display it on your Zoom window. So let's say you have the students working on something while you're giving them a break, or you just want to time the break or whatever without going to the trouble of creating the Showmaster animation and all that. You can use this timer to count down. You can also use it to make sure that you don't run over the time you have allocated for a particular part of your presentation, which is something I do all the time, unfortunately. You do have to decide, you can either have the timer display only to you, or you can have it display to everyone. And this little switch here will change that behavior. And you even have some presets here. If you want a 5, 10, 15, or 20-minute timer, you can get it very quickly by just clicking on one of these buttons. And once you've set a time, you have a start button. You click that, and as you can see, the timer appears up in the upper left-hand corner, and it just proceeds to count down. And I can leave this running while I'm doing other stuff. I've still got speaker info going, so I'm still collecting that data. And I'm just gonna, any of these apps, if you go to the very top of the app panel here and click again on the little menu button, the 3 horizontal dots, you get an option to pop it out. You can also close the app or start it over, but popping it out will allow you to put it in a separate window and then drag it over onto another screen, or just minimize it into your taskbar or your ribbon on the Mac and bring it back up whenever you like. You don't have to do that, of course, because you can see the timer over here. I'll just leave that running for now. Okay. Again, free and perfectly safe because it was created by Zoom for Zoom. Virtual backgrounds is actually my favorite timer. You've probably used virtual backgrounds yourself before through the Zoom menus, but it's a little bit of a complicated process to choose the virtual background you want. And Zoom only gives you a few virtual backgrounds. So if you want more virtual backgrounds of your own that are not, the same ones that everybody uses because they're in the Zoom client to start with, the whole process of selecting and activating a virtual background can be a little complicated, or at least time consuming and a little tedious. This virtual backgrounds app, which I've already added here, is a very quick and easy alternative to having to set up your virtual backgrounds that way. In order for me to demonstrate this app, I'm going to have to change what I'm showing you here a little bit. Just a second, let me do that. I'll go to where I've got a camera just on me, and I'll get rid of my key so that you can see this is, of course, what I'm actually sitting in front of. It's just a green screen. So, and this is these virtual backgrounds will generally work whether you have whatever the background that you are sitting in front of is. Though they work better if the background is not too cluttered or has too many colors in it. To see if virtual backgrounds are going to work for you in your particular environment, you just have to try them. But Zoom does a very good job of replacing whatever's behind you with these virtual backgrounds. So let's try it. I'm going to go to the virtual backgrounds app, which I've already loaded. If I hadn't loaded it, I would have just gone to the, if I wanted to get it and didn't already have it, I'd just go to the app marketplace, search for virtual backgrounds, pick this one and load and add it. This one's pre-approved, so you don't have to ask anyone to use it. If I click virtual backgrounds here, it will load the virtual backgrounds that I have access to into my app panel here. And this one takes a moment sometimes. There we go. And suddenly I have many dozens of virtual backgrounds. I've got in nature, a whole bunch of nature pictures. Beautiful ones. And indeed, the more I scroll down, the more that appear. I don't even know how many there are. Beautiful. Oh, I love that one. If I want that as a virtual background, all I have to do is click this button that says set background. And there I am. And if I want to change it, I just find a different one. Let's go to travel. It's the heck of it. My timer just ran out. Oh, hush.
Go to the interiors, please.
Pardon? Interiors. Coming up.
Interiors.
There we go.
About a year ago, a couple people were using one that looked like it was one of the big opera houses, but it turned
Oh.
out it was the one with the Muppets.
Not exactly a La Scala. Huh?
No, I mean, you know, if you remember the old Muppet show,
Oh, I
they
do.
had the two old
vividly.
couches, so they were in the skull.
Quite
Yeah.
vividly, indeed. Oh,
So some of these we somebody's house. That's interesting.
yeah. Let's see. Just to give you an idea of how many different ones there are. We'll just
That looks like one up here that our friend has got.
okay.
Nice.
And it
Mhm, very
sometimes
good.
it takes it a minute to settle down, but that one's settled down pretty good.
Yeah, but the
A neat
one that's
thing-
at the top, the bookcase, if you go up one higher,
Up one higher. This one, the
Yeah.
book, yeah, this one.
yeah, go up one higher above it.
Oh, above that, this one.
Oh, okay. So there are two different bookcases.
Yeah, two different bookcases.
Appropriate one for a teacher.
Indeed. Though, wouldn't it be nice to live here?
I have seen that one in use.
Yeah. So, nice loft, looks like an urban
Yeah.
loft. And another nice thing about this, you can pick as many as you like and just keep switching from one to another. And there are even more, I think, even more categories than this. Let me
Well,
see.
you haven't done art or travel yet either.
I think there are. For some reason, travel is taking a minute to come up. There's art. Oh, no, there's travel.
Mm.
And I think there might be some others as well. But
Yeah, you had it in there.
I don't know why that. And I clicked on art and then the travel popped up.
Oh, I see. That's art. Okay. I thought it was travel.
No, this is travel. Somehow I
Can you
managed.
Can you click on Buddha?
I'm sorry,
Can you click on Buddha?
Buddha.
Yeah.
There we
You
go.
got- Wait, there.
There's Buddha.
Yeah.
And I have to get out of the way.
Yeah, that's the one thing about the virtual backgrounds.
Well, yeah, the background, if the interesting part of the background is centered right in the middle of the screen.
Well, also I've seen some that the background looked like things were coming out of their head.
Yeah, that's not quite as salubrious as it might be, though I can, with the app I have, I can move that around. I think the background, oh no, background's not gonna, that's not gonna work. Sorry, I'm not thinking. All right. So you can very easily utilize a whole bunch of different virtual backgrounds without going through any skull sweat or any preparation. But if you know, if you've been using virtual backgrounds anyway, and you know how to do this without the app, which you can do by going to your video settings menu here, just to the right of the little camera icon in the lower left of your Zoom menu, and click on the up caret to get the video settings menu. There's a choose virtual background menu that you can pull up in Zoom. Looks like this. And this is how you usually do virtual backgrounds. It's a lot simpler to do them with the app. But if I scroll down to the bottom here, oh, no, not to the bottom, but you'll see, I look here, these virtual backgrounds that have been using, like this one. And there's the Buddha. They're added to your virtual backgrounds in your Zoom client. So if you want to use them later without looking for them in the app, you can use them right out of your Zoom client, because they're stored in the client along with the rest of the Zoom background, the virtual backgrounds that you may have used in the past. So, and maybe they even work a little better. So this is a real easy entree into the world of using virtual backgrounds. It's a lot easier than going and looking for these images yourself and loading them into your Zoom client manually, downloading them to your computer and putting them in your client and all that. That's all doable well enough, but it's a lot easier just to pull them right out of the app.
What's that one above the Buddha?
The one above the Buddha, I don't know. It looks like someplace either foggy or smoky, one of the two. I don't know.
Looks European.
Yeah, it's European.
Oh,
Salzburg, maybe? I don't know.
nice and blurry though.
Well, it's, yeah, the picture itself is blurry.
Right.
Like in a fog. I presume it's a fog. All right,
Looks like London fog.
Yeah, but that don't look like London. So, virtual backgrounds, cute, free app. All those backgrounds are apparently copyright cleared. You can use them to your heart's content. Let me if I want to turn off the virtual backgrounds, I have to go to my Zoom virtual background controls in the video settings menu and set that back to none so it doesn't interfere. And there we go. And now I can go back to my previous. There we go. Oh, I need to adjust my key, don't I? A little bit more about how I'm doing this here in a few minutes. I want just me to appear without anything, that green rectangle around me. I can do that. Mention how I do that in a little bit. Yes.
Can you also turn off show master and timer in Zoom client, or do you have to go to the app?
the timer app, I can just close the app. Let me go find that. Let's get back to there's timer.
Yeah, okay.
And speaker info is running and virtual backgrounds. If I want to turn those off so that they're not using memory,
Uh-huh.
I can just pull them up in my apps. It shows me which ones are currently running, and I
Right.
can just click the little X out here to the right and
Okay.
remove those. I'm going to leave speaker info running because it's actually collecting some useful data for me.
Mhm.
Great. All right. Oh, and here's what it looks like so far. Still going. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's the first time I've really used that one. I like it. All right. Let's say you have a prepared speech that you'd like to share with your students, or that you'd like to give to your students, and you don't want to have to remember what you wanted to say. The Pitch Hub app is an actual teleprompter that will show only to you, unless you happen to be sharing your Zoom screen with your students, as I am. The Pitch Hub teleprompter is a free teleprompter app. I don't have that listed here in my app, so we can go through the process again of how to find that. I don't think that one is available if I search through the app panel here.
Question about the speaker info.
Oh, it is there.
You've
Yes, go
got
ahead.
it running. You as the
Uh-huh.
host have it running. Could any
Right.
of us activate it on our end?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you could do that in my meeting. That's a good question. I haven't tried that.
Well, and right now you've got it on screen
Right.
share, so I don't think I can even, oh,
No,
maybe I
you
can.
you can't right now because I'm monopolizing the screen, but I don't know. I would
I
think
can,
probably
just down at the
not.
bottom.
I would think probably not, but yeah, that's true. You probably will see your Zoom menus at the bottom of the screen, but I would think probably not, but I could be wrong. Okay, actually the Pitch Hub teleprompter does come up here on the side. So if I want to add that to my account as one of my apps, I just click on it. And then I've got a button that just says add. Again, if this were one that hadn't been pre-approved, it would, the button would say request to add. And you click there and you type in you get a little box that you can type in a reason for, and then you submit the request. And hopefully within a few days, you get a message saying it's been made available to you. But in this case, you don't have to ask anyone. You can just add this one. And in a moment, a screen will pop up that tells you you're about to add Pitch Hub teleprompter. And it tells you what the app can do, which is fairly standard. You check this box here and click allow. And within a moment or two, oh, and then you get the option over here to open the teleprompter. It will open in this side panel. And again, no one else will be able to see this. You're seeing it only because I am sharing my Zoom screen with you. If I were to stop doing that, you wouldn't see this, and I'd be the only one seeing this. There is one small rub to this. There's a free version, as with so many of these apps, there's a free version and a paid version. If you want to use the free, and as we all, everybody here is old enough to know there ain't no free lunch. There's somebody paying for it. In this case, if you want to use this teleprompter, you have to give them your an email address. I sometimes keep a Gmail address to use for things like this because you're going to get messages. They're going to sell your email address. Now I'm going to give them my personal email address, which already gets so much spam that it can't get any worse. But you give them any valid email address and they'll take it. But realize that you are going to get spam. And once you give them a valid email address, you just click subscribe and attend and continue. And this is what the teleprompter app looks like. All right. At the top here is a place where you paste your script. So if you've typed out a script in Word or whatever, you can just copy and paste it right into here. I have somewhere here, I hope still. Yes, the text of the Gettysburg Address. So I've already got it highlighted. I'm going to copy that to the clipboard, get that out of the way, and paste it right here. Control V to paste. And there's the Gettysburg Address. And in a font big enough that I can actually see it, though I can change that. I have options of font size of small, medium, and really large. I'm not quite that bad yet. And within the small, medium, and large, I can actually adjust it a little bit by clicking these plus and minus here. And I can I can make it a little wider. Now, I guess not 10 is as wide as I can make it. So I'm gonna leave it about there. And once I've got all that set the way I want it, I click this little down caret here. This took a little figuring out. And here are my teleprompter controls. Basically, here's my speed so I can speed this up and slow it down depending on how fast I want to speak. I can jump back to the beginning of the script. I can bookmark a spot in the script that I can hop to if I need to, and I can get some help. But basically at this point, I'll just click the play button and it'll start scrolling the script up just like a professional teleprompter. 87 years ago, our fathers and mothers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men and women are created equal, etc., etc., etc. And I can pause it anytime I want to. So I don't have to remember what I was going to say. And I can move this around a bit so that if I pop it out, as I did with that other app, I can move it around so that I can get it up near my, whoop, I didn't mean to do that. So I can get it up near my camera. And so it, while I'm reading the text, my eyes are more or less, looking more or less into the camera, so that it's not as obvious that I'm reading it. Probably won't be a whole lot worse than a lot of the politicians you see on TV reading from teleprompters. But hey, it's something that's a relatively limited use, but it's fun. You can use it outside of Zoom as well if you're just recording a video or something like that and you want to have a teleprompter. And it's free, or at least there is a free version. And if I'm done with it, I can just close the teleprompter window and close the app, and now it's no longer active.
Before you change subjects,
Yes,
I did go down at the bottom where our action is. There's an app key or button. I clicked on that. I went in and found speaker info, and I have requested it, and I had to say why I wanted it, and it's been submitted for approval.
Cool.
So when I find out, I'll try it out, and I'll let you know whether I get to use it while you do.
Yeah, I thought that one was already approved. I'll check.
Maybe me.
I
It
don't
may-
know. I
It
would've
may be
expected
approved
you
for
would've
certain
just been able
people.
to add it, but good. You got started on that. Let me know
Yep.
if you have any trouble with it, okay? Getting it,
Of
okay?
course.
All right. So let's go back to my apps. And here's a good one for a Thursday night. It's not Thursday night, is it? But here's a good one for an evening. Some of these apps, actually quite a few of them, are icebreaker kinds of games. Things that you can play with your students during a period when you're waiting for something else to happen, or just during a break. Or if you just want an icebreaker, here's something fun we'll do at the beginning of the meeting. And you can even, in the games that have winners and losers, you can even maybe award the winners a fraction of a point of extra credit on something. And my favorite one, which is also free, is bingo for Zoom. Okay, here's my bingo panel. In order for you all to be able to also be able to play bingo, I need to invite you. It's right here. The invite button is right here. It's the middle of the three buttons here at the top. If I click on, and I'm going to have to stop my screen share in a minute so you can actually reply to the invitation, but I'll click that and I can select individual attendees, or I can just send my invitation to everyone. And I'll do that by just clicking on this invite button here. But before I do that, I'm going to stop my share so you can actually see the invitation pop up on your screen. Invite. Okay, on my laptop that I've got over here, that is also logged into the meeting, I see a little box pop up. It says Dave Giberson is inviting you to use a Zoom app, Bingo for Zoom. And there's a couple of buttons at the bottom. One says ignore if you don't want to play bingo. Oh, please, at least click, for now at least, click open, the blue open button. And it says you are not allowed to use this Zoom app in guest mode. Please, that's what it's saying to me. It's probably not saying that to you. And the one drawback to this app is that in order to use it, everybody in the meeting has to have a Zoom account. That's just this particular app. If I log in on Zoom to another Zoom account that I have, and remember, and this works with free Zoom accounts as well. So your students can have their own free Zoom accounts just for the asking from Zoom. We even have a tutorial on our Open on Demand site, our tutorial site, that will show them how to create their own free Zoom accounts. But you all are probably already logged into your Zoom accounts. If you weren't, you got that message that says you can't use this app in guest mode, and you just have to log into Zoom, which you can do without leaving the meeting. I am going to sign in here to another Zoom account that I have so I don't disrupt my meeting here. So I can see this happening in real time, so I know that.
Dave,
Yes.
when I clicked on the invitation,
Yeah.
it says, it has an exclamation point, and it says, oops, we hit an unexpected error.
Okay.
Contact the
I'll
app
send the invitation
developer.
again and you can try it. It's hard. Sometimes these things, that particularly the free ones, will work one time and not the next. So,
Yeah,
okay. All right. Now I'm logged in. I'm going to send that invitation again. So,
Well, I have a square that has bingo for Zoom, and then it has ignore or open. Don't
Oh.
you, as the host, have to click on the open?
Open. No, you click on the open. And you should get a little sidebar that says welcome, and a a set of initials at the top, it may ask you to enter a screen name. And you should see something that looks like what, let's see, let me share this with you for just a second, because this is going to interfere. You should see something that looks something like this. It won't say welcome back, probably. It'll probably just say welcome, but it'll have this red color and the little string of lights at the top and so on. So let me stop that share.
Mine still says, please contact the app developer for support.
Okay, but did it say that you could not play it in guest mode?
No, it just has an exclamation point and it says, whoops, we hit an unexpected
I'm
error.
sorry, there's almost no way I can troubleshoot that at this point.
Yeah, and it says refresh. When I
Try
refresh,
refreshing, yeah.
same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
And mine's different. Mine says bingo for Zoom. It has a blue add button and then it says this is the perfect icebreaker for any size meeting. So it's almost an ad.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to do that. Let me share another screen here, one of my client screens for a second, and show you what it looks like on my client. This is my laptop that I have logged into the system. This is what it looks like when it works. This is what I'd expect to see. You do have to be logged into your Zoom account, which you don't have to be in order to attend these meetings. But if you want to use this particular app, or if you want to participate in a bingo game through this particular app, you have to be logged into your Zoom account on the computer that you're attending the Zoom meeting from.
Okay, I'm logged in because if I wasn't, you wouldn't see my picture. You would just see my name.
That's true. That's true. You are logged in. So let me just show you what this looks like. I don't want to spend too much time on it. This is not one of the most critical apps we're going to talk about tonight, but I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave the share on my, what you're seeing is my laptop, which is logged into this session. So this is what an attendee would see. If I, as the host, he said, huh. Oh, that's right. Can I do that? Actually, I can't because I don't have an active Zoom screen to work from. Okay, so I've got to kill that share. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what this looks like real quick. It looks just as it does when it's functioning normally. It'll look exactly the same to the meeting attendees as it does to me as the host. So since I've played this before, I collect a few bonus points. Then I get to select whether I want to play one card or two, just like at the church. And then I start the game. And at this point, everybody should be seeing in a moment.
No, we're not.
No, you're just seeing my screen right now. Within a few minutes or a few seconds, the first numbers start appearing. I-20, nope. B9, nope. I-27. There's one. So I mark my card by clicking on that. In 38.
Are we supposed to see what
No,
you're seeing?
you're not going to be able to. This is just
Oh,
a
okay.
demonstration mode at this point. There's B5, G59, and you get the idea. You
No, I
just
don't.
mark. Well, you keep marking your card,
Yeah, but what I have open is, it says apps at the top and it talks about discovering them all. It doesn't show your bingo screen. It did away with your bingo screen.
Oh, let me try this. Thank you.
There we go.
There you go. Now you're seeing it.
Yay.
My bad. All right. And so this just keeps going. Lost track there. B8, B1. Oh, you get, oh, you know how to play bingo. So you just mark your card as they come up. And when you get 5 in a row, up, down, or diagonally, up, down, sideways, or diagonally, you click bingo and you get whatever prize the meeting host has decided to award. And to get out of it, I can just close that window and bingo. So that one does seem, I had to tinker around with my client computers a little bit to get that to work. It may or may not be worth your time. I just point out that this is just one of many games that you have access to in the App Store. There's an entire category of games. Some of them are team games where people can work together in teams to compete. Something sort of similar to that is the next one I want to show you. And this is probably the most instructionally useful app we're going to talk about tonight. Kahoot. Kahoot is a student response system. Remember the clickers that you could hand out to your students, and then you could put questions up on the screen. They could answer the questions with the clickers and so on. That's basically what Kahoot is, though it has some much more sophisticated options than a lot of those early clicker response systems. And it does not require any physical devices for the students to participate other than a computer or a smartphone or a tablet. And it's something you can run live in a Zoom meeting. It's a little, again, it's a little bit pitchy to get it to work. And I'm going to try to walk you through that. At least I can show you Kahoot, which will go, I'll go to my apps button here. Let me share this screen again so you'll see what I'm doing. And I'll go to my apps button and bring up my apps panel. And I already have the Kahoot app loaded. I do have to have an account at kahoot.com. How do we get that? Well, I pull up a window here, Google window, and just go to kahoot.com. This is the Kahoot homepage. You can sign up for free and you get limited capability. There's a limit to how much you can use Kahoot in that event and a limit to the kinds of things you can do with it. I signed up for a $5 a month account just so I could demonstrate it a little more effectively, but the free option probably give you enough capability to try it out at least. You just do that by signing up here. I've already got an account, so I'm going to log in. And I logged in with my Google account, I believe. So that's a quick way to set up an account. You just have to tell it which Google account you want to use. And then log that, and then it logs you in automatically. All right, this is my Kahoot homepage. I've got one Kahoot that I've created. A Kahoot is basically a series of slides that have things like questions on them that your students can answer. Think of it as bar trivia. Basically is kind of the core capability of Kahoot. Only you can make it educational in nature as opposed to a drinking game. Or you can use the drinking game, it doesn't matter. But I have created one Kahoot. To create a Kahoot, you just click this create button here. I don't really have time to walk you through that process in detail. There are lots of tutorials online on how to create a Kahoot. And again, it's basically just a series of slides. And I just want to show you how it can work. So in my Kahoot app panel here, I've got an option to join a Kahoot that's being run by somebody else, or I can host my own. I just click host, and I've got to log in one more time. And since I was already logged in on the website, it immediately authorizes me. And I get an option to open Zoom meetings, which will allow this to continue. And here we go. And it will show me my list of current Kahoots that I have available to use. And there's the one I created for tonight's session. Now, before I start that, I need to invite you all to this. And I'm already sharing my screen so that you can see the questions and answers, but you'll also need to open up a web browser in addition to your Zoom meeting, and go to a URL that's going to pop up on the screen here in a second. So I'm going to click here to start Zoom trivia for our PD session. Takes it a second. And it says get ready to join. And there's a meeting code or a Kahoot code 8512227. And it starts playing some music. Fortunately, low in the background, and it's waiting for people to come in. So I'm going to invite you all, as I did before. And you'll get a little button on or a little box on the side that will ask you to open the Kahoot app. You don't have to have an account at Kahoot to do this. And you'll just join a Kahoot. And the game pin is this number right here, 8512227. And click the enter button that it gives you. There's Denise, very good. You do have to put in a nickname. I forgot that. So I'll put in my Dave laptop here. And click OK. And then I'll appear. All right. Got a bunch of us. Now, we're ready to start. I control it as the host. It's my Kahoot. So I've got this start button here. At this point on your screen, hopefully you see two windows, one with my shared screen in it and one that says you're in. And
Right.
let's go ahead.
No, I'm agreeing. Yes.
Oh,
Got it.
good. Okay, so I'm going to start this. The first, it's going to count everything down as it tells you to get ready. And what I've got first is just a placeholder slide, so I can stop and talk to you a minute. You should be seeing a little window off to the side that says look up, no need to answer this time. In other words, you can look away from the screen. This is just a placeholder at the beginning of the thing to give you a second to get mentally prepared for this. Then I'm going to click next, and the question's going to appear. Here's question screen. All righty, and here's your question. In a second, it's going to show it. On the left, you see the question. What Zoom tool can you use to communicate with other attendees during a Zoom meeting?
Now we have to answer on our own
And
screen.
you answer on your own screen, the red, blue, yellow, or green. And I waited too long. It only gives you a certain amount of time. And you got time's up. Dust yourself off. Greatness awaits.
No, I did it.
Oh, you got it. Hey,
Yeah.
all right. One person answered that and got it right. Or did they? Yes, you did. All right. Now we'll go to the next one. So be mentally prepared this time. Oh, it does give you a little scoreboard. Oop, Carlin is out of the gate. Dave's laptop didn't get to that one either. Next. Here's a true or false question. You'll see it in a moment. Our SDCCD Zoom Pro accounts allow up to 300 attendees in the meeting. Go to your window. You see blue or red. Blue is true, as you see on the left. And it'll either tell you got it right or mess with you. 4 of us got that one right. Cool. Then so this is my, over here is my little, as the host, it lets me keep track of who's doing, how well different people are doing. All right. Next, there's the scoreboard again. Ha ha! It's all of a sudden it's a horse race. And next, what's the time limit for SDCCD Zoom meetings? 40 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, no time limit. What's the answer?
My thing disappeared.
Oh no. Look for it in your taskbar down there under Zoom. It should be there, hopefully. The answer is no time limit. Give us a little longer this time. I'm not quite sure why.
No, I'm stuck. I
Uh-oh.
don't know where it went.
Let me see where that might be.
This is a launch meeting screen.
Oh.
Oh, there we go. I got it back.
Oh, cool, cool. It's under apps. All right, there we go. There's the results that
Thanks
I
for
see
waiting
on
for
the
me.
left. Let's not get too invested in this, but just trying to show you that this can be really fun for the students, and it certainly wake them up at some point during the Zoom meeting. It's something you got to practice with a couple of times, as you're seeing, before you can expect your students to be real comfortable with it. Though the good thing about Kahoot is, unlike the bingo game, is that the students don't have to have a Zoom account, nor do, if you have a Zoom account, they don't have to be logged into it in order to play this. You have to set up the Kahoots, and that's a little bit outside the scope of this session tonight. But we do have tutorials on that. We've got sessions, previous sessions, where we actually taught Kahoot, the Kahoot management
And
process
this
as
one
well. As the app.
reinforces,
Pardon?
this one reinforces information.
It really does. It just kind of sneakily inserts it into their semi or midterm memory without them realizing it and without a whole lot of effort on their part, because they're emotional. They think, oh God, what's the answer? I don't want to look like a fool here. I want to get this right. Like I say, think bar trivia without the alcohol, hopefully, though you have no control over that, do you? All right. And next. And all right, Carlin's still there, but Dave's laptop's coming up on the outside. Well, I think I got one more slide here. Yeah, one more question. This is a multi-select question. It will tell you that. Which of the following premium Zoom features are included with our SDCCD Zoom accounts? Unlimited meetings, no meetings.
I keep clicking on yours instead of mine.
Yeah, I know, I do that too. And live captioning, new Zoom whiteboard, and the answer is all of them. So you can select multiples in this case, and then you have to submit it when you're done. And there we go. All right, we got a bunch of responses that time. That's great. So this is another type of question that you can use in a Kahoot. Mm-hmm. And that's the end of it, I think. If I click next.
Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
No, you gotta answer this. It says partially correct.
That's
now, does that mean I got one wrong and 4 right? Or does that mean this last question, all 4 answers were right?
All 4 answers were right. That's always a possibility.
Oh, that's sneaky.
Sneaky. Exactly. Yeah, you gotta be sure of yourself to click all 4 of them.
Well, it doesn't say you can.
It does pop up it says multi answer, I think, question. But it's a good idea to mention that to your students before you pull that question up. So there's more than one answer. You can select more than one answer on the next one. All right, that's all the questions I have in this particular Kahoot quiz. If I click next one more time, we see the and who won? Oh, Dave's laptop won, but Carly
and look at Danish. She came in second.
And Carlin were a creditable second and third. And you got all this. And what happens if I click share podium?
Well, congratulations, Danish and Dave. You beat me fair and square.
I'm not sure what that is. Okay, so that's Kahoot. It's fun. It certainly wakes the students up. It does really reinforce the concepts that you're asking. And the Kahoot capability here, if I create a Kahoot, let me kill my share here and make this work a little better. I can add all sorts of different questions. I can make quizzes, which are multiple choice or multiple answer questions, true, false. And if I pay them money, I can do things like have them type an answer or give them a puzzle to work or a poll, or of course I have polls built into Zoom. I don't need it for that. I can create word clouds. The thing I really like is an open-ended question where you can ask them a question that requires them to type something more than just a few words. And then they can submit that and everybody can see everybody else's response to this open-ended question. That requires a bit of money each month though, so I didn't try to demonstrate that this time. Actually, I've got just a very minimal Kahoot account that I used for demonstration purposes. But this is how you create your questions over here on the left. You just type the question. You can optionally add a graphic if you want to spice it up a little bit. And then you can type your available answers. You can add more answers if you need to. I think you have to have at least 4. And you can even add images in each of the answers if you want to get really spiffy about it. You can set the time limit on the question and choose whether the question is a single answer or multi-answer, single select, multi-select. And then you can just keep adding questions. If you add slides, you just, that's that placeholder that I had early on so that it didn't run right into the first question, but you can add those at any point. But you can keep adding questions. I don't know what the limit is. Practically, you know, somewhere between 5 and 10 questions would, you know, it'd get old if you tried to do more than that. But you can really emphasize at the end of a meeting when everybody's just kind of strung out and so on, you could play one of these, give the students a chance to show off what they've learned or not. And of course, by showing them the right answers, you can reinforce the major points that you were trying to make in a Zoom class meeting. So it's worth dealing with the minor complexities of learning to use Kahoot within Zoom. Kahoot was really kind of designed for use in a physical classroom originally. But with this Kahoot app, you can pretty seamlessly integrate it into your Zoom classes as well. And like I said, this is probably the most educationally useful of the apps that we're going to talk about tonight. So let's go back and see where we are here. Kahoot. Mentimeter, I'm going to skip over for a moment because I want to get to be sure to get to the last 2. Mentimeter is something kind of similar to Kahoot, but the free version of Mentimeter allows you to present open-ended questions to your students, something that you can't do in Zoom polling or in the free version or the free version of Kahoot. But you can do it in Mentimeter. And that can be really critical when you're trying to generate some student feedback in a Zoom meeting. You can always have them post to the chat tool, of course, which is simpler, but then that's, you know, it's kind of hard for people to keep up with that. If people join late, they don't see the earlier things and so on. And Mentimeter will allow you to display everyone's typed responses. And you can do lots of other things with Mentimeter too. It's one I'd recommend you look into as one. This is the first time I've offered this seminar in this format, so I wasn't quite sure how much time each of them would take. So I'm going to skip over that for now. If we have a little time left at the end, I'll come back to it. And let's talk about a couple of integrations that we can use with Zoom, because when we talked about apps and integrations at the beginning of the session, there are a couple of critical Zoom integrations that are available to us at the SDCCD that are really quite useful. The most important would be the Canvas Zoom app. This is not something you have to pull from the apps store here. This is something that's already been loaded into Canvas and Zoom for you. So this is not one you have to set up or ask permission for or anything like that. You don't have to add it to your account. It is already available in the course menu of your Canvas courses. So let's take a look at how that works. Let's see. To see this, I'm going to go to our Canvas system at sdccd.instructure.com and log in. And I'm just going to pull up a sandbox course here off my dashboard. Doesn't matter which one. Do this tutorial sandbox. And if you look over here to the left in your course menu, in your current courses, you should see somewhere an SDCCD Zoom app. There it is right there in my course menu. If you don't see that, you can add it to your course menu by going to your settings link down at the bottom of the screen. Let's see here. Just a second, I'm making sure of something here. Okay, and let's see here. Let me make sure that you can see that. If I scroll to the bottom, there's the settings link in the course menu right there at the bottom of the course menu. And to change the contents of my course menu, I go to the navigation tab on the settings screen in your Canvas course. And here's my course menu in another view. The stuff that I see at the top here is what's currently displaying in my course menu. And down below this line here are other things that I can add to my course menu. And it's just possible that the SDCCD Zoom app, the link in the course menu to the app, will be down below the line. And you just click and drag it up to get it into the display, to make it display in the course menu. And then be sure to go to the bottom of the screen and save the change, otherwise the change won't take effect. So here's the SDCCD Zoom app. To access it, all you have to do is click on it. And this is what you should see. Okay, this is a way you can control and utilize your Zoom account without having to go to the Zoom website or your Zoom desktop client. You can schedule meetings, access meetings, access cloud recordings from here without having to go to the Zoom website. It's a convenience. There's nothing you can do here that you can't do on the Zoom website, but it's a useful way. It's also available to your students, not to schedule meetings, but to join them. So if you schedule your meetings through the Zoom app here, as we'll see in a moment, there'll be a list of upcoming meetings for the students, and they can come into this app, log into Canvas, come into this app, and join your meetings through this, rather than having to click on a link in an email or a link in a module or whatever. So it's just another way of managing and utilizing your Zoom account. To schedule a new meeting, for instance, you just click this button that's so labeled. Canvas tutorial sandbox demo meeting, I'll call it. Obviously, you'd name it whatever was appropriate. You can enter a more complex description if you wish. You can decide when that meeting is going to begin. You can set the duration of the meeting in hours and minutes. This duration is not enforced. If you tell Zoom that your meeting's going to take an hour and it runs over by 10 minutes, Zoom's not going to kick you out and stop the meeting. This just gives Zoom some rough information, and your students some rough information about what to expect about the length of the meeting. Of course, you can pick your time zone. If you want to set up recurring meetings, like if you're going to have a meeting every Monday and Wednesday at 2:00 in the afternoon, you can set that up. You can add security elements if you wish, a passcode, a waiting room. Don't use only authenticated users can join meetings because that'll lock your students out. Only people who have Zoom accounts in our Zoom account group, the sdccd.zoom.edu Zoom account group, will be able to join the meeting. But if you're holding a meeting of your peers at the district, who are all district employees, they should all have SDCCD Zoom accounts, and you could eliminate that's one way to eliminate the possibility of someone from the outside accidentally getting into your meeting or deliberately breaking into it. It's an extra security thing. And there's some other options here. I like to enable join before host. So if I'm a minute late or something like that, people can drop into the meeting and talk to one another and so on before I get there. I like to use my personal meeting ID, so I get this red warning. So, oh, bad. I use my personal meeting ID all the time. I've been Zoom bombed once, and it was a minor event. So that all looks fine. I just saved the meeting. And then it takes me back to the it actually drops me into my Zoom client here, and I can just go back and it shows me what I've chosen for the meeting, and I can start the meeting if I want to now, but I don't have to do that. I can just go back to the course meetings tab, and that meeting now shows up as a scheduled meeting. I can start it from here whenever I'm ready. Zoom will not automatically start the meeting just because you said that it started at 8 p.m. You have to come here and start the meeting or start it in some other way. You can go to the Zoom website and start it if you like. The really nice thing about this is that you can use this with your students as well. Or your students can use it as well, I should say. All right, here's another browser window. I'm gonna log in as my test student 2. Log in and go to that same course. There it is, my Canvas tutorial sandbox. This is an actual student account, not associated with any individual, but it's a real student account, so I can use it to test things like this and demonstrate things like this. And there's the SDCCD Zoom app shows to the student, as long as I have it above the line in the navigation settings. And when the student goes in, the student can see upcoming meetings, and they can join them from here. So there's no need to send join links back and forth or put links in the module or whatever. You can manage access to your Zoom meetings for your students through this app. Makes it that much more secure, and it makes it almost impossible for anybody but a student enrolled in this Canvas course to get into this meeting. And the student would just click join. I don't want to do that right now. I'm already in a Zoom meeting. So, but that's the basics of utilizing the Zoom the SDCCD Zoom app in Canvas. There's also something called a Student Connect app. Let me pull that up. Here I am logged in as me, as the teacher. Student Connect gives you the option, and students the option, to arrange office hour appointments or individual appointments if you're having them meet with you on Zoom, one-on-one for a, a particular event during the term, maybe a midterm review or something like that, so that you can catch up with them and let them know how they're doing, give them some advice, things like that. You can manage appointments for, you will of course see these. You can offer slots. And there's some defaults. You can add more and remove these and so on as needed. You can, and these are your new slots. You can set those up here in this column over here on the left. Fairly straightforward process. You can, oops, jumped all the way out. Didn't mean to do that. Your students then can go in and access the Student Connect app. And they can sign up for appointments at available times. Can take it a minute for this thing to load. There we go. And they can sign up. And there would be upcoming appointments available here in this window right here if I had set those up. So it's a way to schedule appointments or have students self-schedule appointments in available time slots that you have set up in advance, so that you can, everybody can make sure that you have a secure meeting, only you and the student will be in, and that each student will know when their particular meeting time is and be able to come into Canvas, go to the Student Connect app and enter that meeting at the appropriate time. You're sort of on your own. You have to remember when you schedule them, near as I can tell. So that's a useful Zoom, Canvas Zoom integration app as well. Student Connect and SDCCD Zoom. And finally, as we're coming down to the end here, you see me right now in the lower right-hand corner of a screen that I'm sharing with you, a Canvas screen. And whatever I do on this particular screen, you can see as it changes dynamically in real time. You can see it. I am not doing this. Oh God, never photograph yourself. Never pull a frame out of a video. That's how they get those insane looking pictures of politicians and so on that they put on the banners, new headline banners and things like that on news sites. Because if they have a video of you talking or something, no matter what you're saying or what you're doing, at some point in that video, there's a frame where you look like you're demented. Or you can look very sage or whatever. They can pull out the frame that they want to make the point that they're, to make their point of view clear, they being the news organization. So if they want to make you look like a deranged fool, it's very easy for them to do that. And it's a very subtle way of influencing, or how news sites influence our view of different people. And it can be, we can do it to ourselves too, which I did in this case. Oh, well. So how am I doing this? This is another Zoom integration. And my favorite one, quite frankly, I use this in every one of my Zoom meetings because it makes it more personal, at least from my standpoint. You see me as a small figure in the lower right-hand corner. I'm live. If I wave my hands and so on, you can see me doing that. And yet you see the screen that I want to share with you. It's difficult to impossible to do this with a standard Zoom screen share. Instead, I am using a virtual video studio called Open Broadcaster Studio. This is what it looks like. I have this running on another screen. I have more than one screen on this computer, which if you don't have at least 2 screens on your home desktop computer or your laptop, if you don't have a setup at home where you can put your laptop down and have your laptop monitor and another monitor beside it, where you can have multiple monitors, where you can drag windows back and forth and park stuff on one window until you need it, and then drag it over when you need it during your Zoom meeting and so on, you're really missing a lot of the capability of using Zoom Live. And it's also a great productivity enhancement. You can keep multiple apps open at the same time and see them together. If you're copying something from one screen to another, it's much easier to do if you have multiple meetings, or if you have multiple screens, excuse me. We do a periodic session on how to hook a second monitor to your computer, be it a laptop, a desktop, a PC, or a Mac. And we have recordings of that on our on-demand website. But in order to really get the most out of Open Broadcaster Studio, or OBS as it's called, I have to have multiple screens. So I have my OBS app running on one screen, and then I have my Zoom meeting running on another. OBS, this is the simplest integration you'll ever see, though setting up OBS to do this is not trivial. It's not beyond the bounds of anybody who can run a Zoom meeting either, or beyond the capabilities of anybody who can run a Zoom meeting. OBS is a free application that will run on both PCs and Macs. You do need a computer to run it. It won't run on an iPad Pro, I don't think, but it will run on a real Apple Macintosh computer or on a Windows PC. And it's a video studio. You have multiple video inputs. You can mix the inputs together. You can lay one input over top of another. You can even do green screen effects like I'm doing right now. I'm actually sitting in front of a green screen here, but this, what's called a chroma keyer, allows me to wipe out that, replace that green color with the background, my computer screen that's showing through. So I appear to just be sitting in front of the screen, floating in front of it, rather than having, the illusion is enhanced by not having the green border surrounding me. All of this is possible in in Zoom using OBS. And this is as I say, setting up OBS requires a little time, though not that much. And learning it takes, I can, in the sessions I do on OBS itself, I can get through the entire process of setting it up and getting it ready to use and using it with Zoom in 2 hours. And that's with explanations. It's something you can do much faster than that once you're comfortable with the process. But to integrate it with Zoom is the simplest of all the apps that we've seen tonight. That integration is the simplest. In the control area of OBS, there's a tool called the virtual camera. Okay, I can stop that right this minute, and then you get this test pattern, as it were. If I click this button, if this button says start virtual camera, I just click on it, and the video that you see here in the preview screen, or actually the program screen on OBS, is sent as an input to Zoom, as a video input to Zoom. And if I share, excuse me, if I share my Zoom screen with you, there's my Zoom screen. All I have to do to activate, to accept that video output from OBS is to go to my video menu here next to my little camera and select OBS virtual camera as my video source. Let's say if I click on here, I can select my little Logitech webcam. And then I can go back to OBS just by selecting OBS virtual camera as my input source in Zoom. So it's just 2 mouse clicks, literally, to connect OBS and Zoom. You start the virtual camera in OBS and you select it as your input source, video input source in Zoom. So this is super duper simple once you have OBS set up and loaded on your computer. That's a little less simple, and that's certainly beyond the scope of tonight's session, but it's an opportunity, and I can do so much more with this than just what you're seeing here, where I show myself keyed over a screen. I can put myself anywhere, and these are videos that I took myself. I've had several hundred views of that video on YouTube. We were in Yellowstone earlier this year, or you want to be on the up above the Golden Gate Bridge, Hawaii, Paris. So I can, and this is just a small sample of the video tricks you can do in a Zoom meeting with OBS. So it's really worth doing. I have a complete set of tutorials on the Open On Demand site that you can use. If you're interested in this, contact me. I'll give you the information you need to get started, or just wait until we do the live session again, which we'll do probably in another month or two. We just did one a week or two ago. So it'll be a little while, but that's a Zoom integration that it's really quite powerful. All right. And that is it. Let's see if I've missed anything in the chat tool. Tried to keep an eye on that. OBS setup class, could you offer that? 2-up setup time seems complicated. Yeah, but you only have to do it once. And that was, I gotta expand my window here to see who that was. Michio. Okay, Michio, we love to get requests. I'll use that as an excuse to do that again. I love to do that session, so I'll try to get that set up. Michio, since you were specifically asking me about that, I can't do it this month. I've already got my schedule set for this month. But if you will send me a time and a date and a time in December when you could attend, since you're the one who requested it, I'll try to make sure that I put it at a time that you can make it. Give me a few options if you can, and just send me that in an email and I'll do it again. I think I can get them. Get them to let me do that again soon. It's something that there's a lot of interest in. How safe are these apps? A very good question. The ones that I've shown you don't really provide a security hole for Zoom. Zoom wouldn't allow them to be used otherwise. I have not heard of there being any problems with any of these. I can't promise that, but I'm pretty comfortable with them is the best way I can answer that. I don't think you're likely to expose student data or anything like that inappropriately. Okay, that's everything that was in the in the chat tool, does anybody else have a question about this or anything else? I'll stay around and answer those questions as long as you have them. Just speak up, unmute yourself and speak up, please. There's still several of you out there, 5 of you out there. That's amazing.
Well,
That's
I
right.
would,
Go,
Thank you
go
so
ahead.
much, Dave. Thank you so much. It was so interesting.
I love these apps. Take a look through the App Store. You'll probably find things that really tickle your interest that maybe didn't mine. So there's every reason to think that you'll find some apps in there that are that will be particularly interesting to you. If you have any trouble getting them approved or using them, just send me an email and I'll help out in any way I can.
Dave, I think I missed a little bit in the beginning. So where can we find the apps?
Where can you find the apps? A good way to end good thing to circle back to here. Generally, you're going to find those. Let me close that. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Whoa. Sorry. There we go. About close the whole meeting. Okay. Let me share my Zoom screen with you so you can see what I'm doing. This, by the way, if you ever teach your students things about Zoom, there's an option in the Zoom settings that will allow you to share your actual Zoom screen with them. That by default, when you share your screen in Zoom, the Zoom screen vanishes for you. And all you have is this share control bar at the top of the screen and whatever was underneath the Zoom window. But there's an option in your Zoom account settings, meeting settings, that allows you to actually share the Zoom screen that you are working from as the host. And that's what I'm doing now. And that's how I can show you how these host tools work. And to find your apps, the place to start is this apps button right here in the host menu. Actually, you'll see that in your participant menus as well. And click on that button.
Oh, okay, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, that opens up
Yeah,
this
yes.
apps panel on the right.
Okay.
And any apps that you already have loaded into your account will show up under the My Apps tab here, and they'll appear immediately. When you first start off, this will be blank.
Mhm.
You won't have any apps. To find apps to either add to your Zoom account or request for your Zoom account, you can go to the Discover tab. And there are categories here.
Discover all or where?
Pardon?
To go to discover all?
Yeah, go to, right, Discover All is the default. Or if you click Discover All, you see categories.
Yes.
There are hundreds and hundreds of these things. I tried to go through all of the screens before this session. There were 64 screens of Zoom apps with more than a dozen apps per screen, hundreds of the things. So this allows you to search for some, like if you're looking for an icebreaker game or something, you could go to games, and here are just all kinds of them. Just a couple dozen of them. Some of them are free, some of them are not. You just have to look and see. But you can also, if you know the name of an app that you've had recommended to you, you can click the little magnifying glass here and you can search for it.
Today, how can I come back? So I clicked on games. How can I back to the
click
where I
where it
started?
says, let me do that. Let me go to Discover from your right here.
Yeah, I click
Right.
on games.
Click games, click the word games, and then click Discover All. Yeah, it took me a while to figure that out myself.
Yeah. I would never guess.
All right,
think
now
so.
you can also look in the, let me find it here. I've got it up somewhere. I think. Yeah, you can also look in the Zoom app or Zoom app marketplace, which is a website at marketplace, all one word, .zoom.us. Let me put that in the chat. There's the Zoom app marketplace. And here you have the same set of categories. If you hit more, you got all those categories. And sometimes you will find apps here that don't show up over here in the apps panel. I don't know why, but that's been my experience. So it may be safer to pull from the Zoom app marketplace. Like if you want speaker info. That's interesting. Don't know why that's saying no data. It's probably backgrounds. For some reason, I'm disconnected from Zoom app marketplace. There, that's more like it. Speaker info. So you can select a particular app to look at. This one I've already added to my account, but if I hadn't, there would be an add button there. Or in the case of some other app, it might say request to add. And you click on that button, provide a little information on why you want the app, and then submit the request. If you have trouble getting that fulfilled, let me, after a few days, let me know. I'll see if I can grease the skids for you on that one. All right. So that's how you find and access the apps, either from the apps button in your Zoom screen or from the app marketplace website.
Well, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
You bet. That was worth
Thanks
going
a
through
lot.
that
It was
again.
awesome. It was
Everybody's forgotten that by now.
It was so interesting, so informative. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Okay, bye-bye.
Anybody else?
I was going to say that I don't teach online, but I am in so many Zoom meetings
Oh God,
that
yes.
you gave me a bunch of good clicks, and
Oh, that's great.
I'm really hoping I can use that speaker
Speaker
timeline.
info. Yeah, let's see how we're doing here. Okay, that's illuminating.
Now I really wonder about that because I spoke for an hour.
Remember,
Almost 2 hours.
it's only recording, it's only counting seconds when I'm actually talking.
I know, but this is suggesting that I have been here almost 2 hours. That I've been talking.
You certainly have. It is now after 8 p.m. We started at 6.
I know.
Well, actually,
I
I'll
didn't
take
speak
that
all
as a
that
compliment.
Yeah, but I didn't speak all that time. That's interesting. But I'm going to have fun playing with that.
All right.
Because I'm in a bunch of meetings that are
use that
different groups.
To beat your attendees about the Head and Shoulders about their.
It'll be fun.
Thank
you very much,
hopefully you will
Dave.
have fun with that.
Enjoyable as usual.
Well, thank you for coming. It's always,
Well, and I
pleasure
gotta
to-
get up real early nowadays.
oh
I'm
boy.
teaching 4 days a week that start at 8 a.m.
Oh, Lord.
and I have to get up between 5 and 5:30 to get there by 7:30. So
Yeah, teaching online was terrible, wasn't it?
I never taught online.
Kinda
This is
nice
in
to have the
person.
option to roll out of bed at 6 or 7:55 and make a class at 8 o'clock, as long as you leave your video off.
And remember to brush your hair
Well,
and get the crumbs out of your
in
mustache.
that case,
and
maybe
beard.
6:50 or 7:50. rather
Yeah,
than
there you go.
7:55,
Okay.
right?
Oh, and we're getting blustery weather down here in San Diego.
Oh,
Not
I've heard,
snow, But they're talking about some rain again. But
yeah.
it felt cold.
I'd show
cold
you
when
my live shot, but it's dark up here now.
I understand. I understand. But
Our
it
sunsets
was feeling blustery out, and you could feel that there was snow up in our mountains. And over the weekend, they got it up in the lagunas. You know, the 6,000,
Oh, yeah,
5,500
I've
and
been up on-
above.
I have walked from the base of Mount Laguna to the top. I know
Yeah.
it's-
My sister's over in Julian, and they don't get snow as often because they're only at 3,500.
And they're in a desert, yeah, pretty much.
All right, you
I do
take
love
care. Stay
Julian.
warm. All right.
Thank you. That's an effort. We're getting a new heat pump put in. All righty, Jerry, anything I can help with?
No, I joined late. I just saw your email, but I'm gonna try to join again
Well,
for the
I am
December
recording.
meeting.
Wonderful. I'm recording this. It'll be online in a couple of days. So
Okay, I'll look for it then. Yes,
it'll be
thank you.
on our open on demand website,
Open on
at-
demand.
sdccdolvid.org.
Okay,
Okay,
Thank
let me
you.
put that in the chat tool. There it is in the chat. That's the link to it. That link is also in the signature of every email that I send out. So it's at the bottom of the email and it's a clickable link. And if you go to Workshop Archives, that's where the session recordings are placed.
workshop archives. Yes, thank you.
Workshop Archives at the top of the screen.
Okay,
There, I
Yes.
can put that direct link into. That's the direct link to the Workshop Archives.
okay.
And that's where this one will be in a, I've got this one and one other one that are not up there yet, the last two. And I'll get those up there in the next couple of days.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
Well, thanks for coming. I
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks.
enjoyed having you.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank
you're
you.
always welcome to email me if you have any questions, okay?
Okay, I will. Yes, great.
All right, thanks for
All
coming tonight.
Have a great night, sir.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.